We want to thank everybody for joining us to discuss the long overdue and mainstream issue of reforming marijuana laws in Iowa. Marijuana prohibition has been a costly failure. It's ending across America because it has caused far more harm than good. Today, we are proposing an Iowa constitutional amendment because Governor Reynolds and legislative Republicans have failed to stop the damage marijuana prohibition has caused for thousands of Iowa families and the exorbitant cost to Iowa taxpayers. Iowa adults want the freedom to legally use marijuana. It's time for Iowa voters to have a direct voice in creating a new system that regulates marijuana like alcohol for adult use. In 2020, more than 4,300 Iowans were convicted of marijuana possession. Iowa taxpayers are on the hook for tens of millions annually for this failure. They pay twice as they pick up an enormous financial tab for an unfair policing and criminal justice system and the cost of the social safety net to support thousands of Iowa families that deal with the economic turmoil resulting from a criminal record. Iowans know we can do better. A majority of Iowans are in favor of significant reform. It's time for Governor Reynolds and legislative Republicans to allow voters the freedom to decide. It's time to hear their voices and bring marijuana reform to Iowa. Thank you. Senator Petersen?
Yeah, Senator Bolkcom, thank you for your continued leadership on this initiative. Iowans are ready to join the growing list of states that are regulating marijuana for adult use. 19 states have already done so. Iowans are tired of filling our prisons with nonviolent offenders, traumatizing families with separation, and taking away opportunities from far too many young adults for something that is legal in nearly half the states in our country. Iowans want to move forward on drug policies. In fact, the Des Moines Register Mediacom Iowa poll last spring showed that more than half of Iowans support legalizing marijuana for recreational uses, and more than 3/4 support expanding it for medical purposes. It's time to give Iowans the freedom to vote on something the majority of them support, instead of letting a handful of politicians hold Iowans back. And now I'll turn it over to Senator Trone Garriott.
Thank you, Senator Petersen. As my colleague mentioned, public opinion polls consistently show that a majority of Iowans approve of regulating marijuana for adult use. Unfortunately, the Republican-dominated legislature has failed to act, let alone even hold a public hearing so that we can talk about the issue. Meanwhile, the world is changing around us, and Iowa is getting left behind. Unlike many of our neighboring states, the citizens of Iowa do not have the ability to put this issue on the ballot as referendum. So we think it's time that Iowans got to have a voice and a vote in this matter.